Welcome to Cook the Garden Podcast, your weekly audio source for delicious and easy garden fresh recipes and growing tips. I'm your host, Ginain Grays. Let's cook the garden. Hello. Welcome to Cook the Garden Podcast. You're listening to episode number 10. Thanksgiving is almost here, and this month on my blog, I'm sharing some of my favorite holiday sides. Check out the show notes, and I'll include some of my favorite links to my popular holiday meals. So, I've never been a huge fan of cranberry sauce, at least the canned or pre-made stuff that you see in the stores. Is it just me? Let me know. Send me an email or message me on Instagram at Cook the Garden. I would love to know if I'm the only cranberry sauce snob out there. So several years ago, my husband actually found a really great cranberry chutney recipe, and he sent it to me. Knowing my Caribbean heritage and that I absolutely love chutneys, he figured that why not? I may give it a try and actually really love it. I wish I knew where he found it, but over the years, I've perfected it and added my own flavor, and now it's actually a staple every Thanksgiving in my home. Some of you may be wondering what chutney is. So chutney is a savory condiment usually associated with Indian cuisine. Its sweet, spicy, tangy flavors work really well with recipes from many other cultures. It's usually made with slow-cooked fruits and vegetables, vinegar, and various spices. Although it originates in India, you can find chutney on a global scale with many variations of the condiment depending on the country. So if you're not familiar with chutneys, you may be asking what you can do with chutney. Chutneys are actually made to complement other dishes. In some Caribbean cultures, recipes are not considered complete without a chutney to accompany the meal. Chutneys can be served as a dipping sauce or a condiment for curry or so many other dishes. So growing up in a Surinamese household, I've had the most delicious chutneys infused with delicious ingredients such as mango, tamarind, ginger, and hot peppers. So let's talk about this holiday cranberry chutney. It's chunky, it's rich, flavorful, and perfect for spooning on your perfect piece of ham or turkey. Oh, and not to mention all of the really delicious things you can make with the leftover chutney. I actually have a recipe for delicious leftover turkey quesadillas, and I actually include the chutney inside of the quesadillas, and every time I make it, my family absolutely loves it. So I'll include a link to the leftover turkey quesadillas as well within the show notes. The great thing about this recipe is that it takes no more than 30 minutes from start to finish using fresh ingredients. So let's go ahead and get started with the recipe. So for your ingredients, we're going to start with 1 cup of water, 3/4 cup of white sugar, 1 bag of fresh cranberries, about 12 ounces, 1 cup of apples peeled, cored, and diced, 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar, 1/2 cup of raisins. So for this recipe, I actually use California golden raisins. It gives it a really nice color, but you can use whatever you want. 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of ground allspice, 1/8 teaspoon of ground cloves, and 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. In a medium saucepan, combine the water and sugar. Bring the mixture to a boil over medium heat. And then you're going to add your apples, cranberries, apple cider vinegar, raisins, and spices. You're going to bring that to a boil, then simmer on low heat while gently stirring frequently for about 10 minutes. Remove the saucepan from the heat and pour the chutney into a bowl to let it cool to room temperature. You can serve it immediately, or if you would like to store it for later, you can cover it and refrigerate. So normally for the holidays, I always make this dish ahead of time just so I can knock it out real quickly because it's quick and simple and it stores really well in the refrigerator. So I've received some rave reviews for this recipe. So if you decide to make this during the holidays, I would love to know. Send me a message on Instagram at Cook the Garden or shoot me an email. I would love to know how you take this recipe and make it your own. So I don't have a growing tip this week, but I do want to talk a little bit about fresh cranberries. Fresh cranberries are normally harvested in the fall and are usually available in our local grocery stores from between October and December, which is a very short window. Fortunately, cranberries can be frozen for up to a year. So what I normally do is around this time of year, I pick up extra packs and I stick them in a freezer. This way you can have cranberry recipes, you can insert them into your smoothies, you can make sauces, drinks, all kinds of things with cranberries. And so if you love cranberries, you might want to stock up now so that you can have it throughout the year. So I really hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Please remember to send me an email or message me on Instagram at Cook the Garden to share your feedback about this podcast. As we approach the end of the season soon, I would love to find ways to improve and continuously provide value to you. As always, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a blessed week. Thank you for tuning in to this week's Cook the Garden. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave a 5-star review. As a new podcast, it really helps to add value while growing our awesome community. As always, I really appreciate it. Until next time, friends, keep slaying those garden fresh recipes.